Can you solve all these chemical kinetics questions? Kinetics mean
well-reasoned. Movement is the correct choice.
nuclear reactions follow. Clear logic. Your choice first-order kinetics is sound and 100% true. What is chemical kinetics? Bravo. Study of rate is the answer. Rate of chemical reaction means?
You got it. Your choice speed of reaction is right.
Hydrolysis of an ester follows dash. Perfect. Pseudo first-order kinetics is the correct choice.
Which of these is not a chemical reaction?
Correct. Stratification is the right answer. A chemical reaction that requires energy is a
Sharp thinking. Endothermic reaction is the right choice.
the starting materials in a chemical reaction. Great job. Reactants is the accurate answer. Which would not speed up a chemical reaction?
Right again. Using a large beaker is a valid answer.
Which one shows that a chemical reaction has occurred? Excellent. Formation of a gas is a brilliant choice. What is the name given to a catalyst in the human body? Smart pick. Enzyme is the correct choice. A catalyst increases the rate of a chemical reaction by. Good job. Decreasing the activation energy works well here. Chemical kinetics mainly helps in the studies of a dash. You chose moderate reaction, and it is correct. The dash is the speed at which a chemical reaction occurs. On track, reaction rate is the correct answer. The unit of the reaction rate of a chemical reaction is dash. You're right. Molk is the correct answer.
What is the theory which explains how chemical reaction occurs? Excellent choice. Collision is the right answer.
A substance that is formed as the result of a chemical reaction. Nice work. You chose product and it is correct. The speed at which a chemical reaction occurs is called the dash. Solid response. Reaction rate is a valid choice. The collisions which bring about a chemical reaction are called. Smart move. Effective collisions is an accurate answer. The minimum energy needed to initiate a chemical reaction is the right choice. Activation energy is the best answer. A catalyst alters which of the following in a chemical reaction? Nicely done. Activation energy is a solid answer.
What is the study of the mechanism by which a reaction occurs called?
Boo. Nice selection. Chemical kinetics is the correct and valid answer. Which of the following is a clue that a chemical change has occurred? Exactly. Change in temperature makes sense, and it is right choice. The study of the rates of reactions and the steps by which they occur. Strong choice. Kinetics is the right answer. A chemical applied to fruit to stop it from rotting is an example of a. Well picked. Inhibitor is the correct answer. A theoretical, unstable, short-lived, transitional substance in a reaction. Correct response. Activated complex is the most accurate answer. The minimum amount of energy needed for colliding particles to react is called.
Well done. Activation energy is the right choice.
Which of the following is not a factor that affects the rate of a chemical reaction? Valid point. Enthalpy change of reaction is true. In a chemical reaction, how quickly or slowly reactants turn into products is called the. Good thinking. Reaction rate is the right answer. A substance that increases speed of chemical reaction without being changed is called. Great thinking. Catalyst is the right choice. Explains that particles must collide with the proper orientation and energy in order to react.
Correct response. Collision theory is the most accurate answer.
Branch of chemistry which deals with the study of the speeds of chemical reaction is known as. Nicely done. Chemical kinetics is a solid answer. Generally, most chemical reactions speed dash as the concentration of a reactant is increased. Solid response. Increases is a valid choice. The minimum amount of kinetic energy that must be possessed by reactants before they can react. Great job. Activation energy is the accurate answer. It is the study of reaction rates and the mechanism or step sequence under which reactions occur.
You got it. Your choice chemical kinetics is right.
Substance that speeds up chemical reactions but are not permanently changing themselves are called. Smart pick. Catalysts is the correct choice. The energy required to physically break bonds among reactants and the products of a chemical reaction is the. Strong choice. Kinetic is the right answer. According to collision theory, particles need to collide with the correct dash for a chemical reaction to occur. Exactly. Orientation makes sense and it is right choice. A catalyst may increase, which is dash catalyst, and decrease, i.e. dash catalyst, without undergoing any chemical change. Great thinking. Positive, negative is the right choice. How you will get all these quiz questions in PDF books format. Excellent choice. Contact Narayan Changda is the right answer.